Well, you couldn't have asked for a better Zerg player to step in, could you? This is pretty awesome, to be honest. I've always been a massive fan of Sue, being mainly a Zerg player myself over the years. This is going to be a good one, especially considering that Gumiho is doing so well today. And as we said, he's on form, and now we're bringing in one of the very best Zerg players on the planet. You really couldn't ask for a better game, this one.
No, this
and
should
plus it's
be...
Zerg vs Terran. Who doesn't love Zerg vs Terran or Terran vs Zerg, whichever way you want to look at it?
It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Sue, the legendary, the inheritor of the Kong curse, of course. The man who just keeps getting second place. It's heartbreaking. I mean, major tournaments, he has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 second place finishes. And at least 5 of them have been GSL. Which is ridiculous. Like, that, if anything, shows like he's actually the most consistent player in Starcraft 2. But he can never quite get the win. He did get the Casper Cup win in 2015. So it's not like he's without a tournament win, but all those second places, they've got to sting, man. They have to sting. All right. Well, let's see. Can he make a little bit extra cash? Can he bring the streak to an end? We'll find out here on Ascension to Aya. The current reigning God King of the Hill in the Red Trunks playing Terran, Psystorm Gaming's Gumiho. Versus his opponent with some very odd-looking drones there, little spiny weird things. To the southeast position in the pink trunks playing Zerg, it's Sue.
Gosh, Sue, what a guy. 8 second places. It's like, sticks and stones might break my bones, but I've finished second place 8 times, so nothing you say can hurt me.
I think it takes a very special player to be able to handle that. Like,
yeah.
I wonder if he does. You know, South Koreans, they put a lot of emphasis on the win. Like, the top heavy prize pools in South Korea are all down really to the culture. They view a win as very hugely prestigious. They put a lot of value on that. But for a lot of players, they would be extremely proud about continually getting these second place finishes all the time. And that's a consistent paycheck. All the time. You know, he's a big earner as a result. He's earned hundreds of thousands of dollars as a result of that. I'm hugely impressed with him. I just have to wonder what's going on in his head after so many second places.
Yeah, it's definitely, probably actually, has increased his, you know, probably attitude towards the game. I think it's made him stronger probably each time.
I hope so.
Like, I mean, you lose second place a couple times in a row, you're like, oh god, this sucks, and then it keeps on happening, and I think he's probably a man of steel by this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to say, look, nobody else is consistently in the finals like I am. Like, I am one of the best in the world. StarCraft 2 is a game where consistency is very hard to achieve. You have to be on another level. Pro players can take games off of other pro players all the time.
Yeah.
But to consistently reach the finals of the hardest tournament in the world over and over and over again like that, against every, you know, the best of the best. You know, there's no top tier player that Sue has not played and beaten at some point. That takes a lot.
Yeah. It does, absolutely, and that's why he is one of the best. There's no doubt there.
Yep.
These drones, by the way,
they're a bit wild, aren't they? Yeah.
These are ridiculous.
A little spiny. Yeah, they decided, hey, we're going to do a whole Zerg spiny thing where everything has a lot of spikes on it. They look at... I have to admit, of the skins that are available, I would not buy that one. I think they look a tad silly. But hey, it's Sue's game. He can play whatever the hell he wants. Yep. We don't restrict skins in this tournament. I think it's kind of silly, really. You know, if people buy the skins, they should be allowed to show them off. And really, it's not like you guys are going to get confused as to what these things are. It's pretty damn obvious. I like the queens, though, these new queens. They're like, they haven't added too much, but I like they've made the spines of the top a bit curvier. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. I don't mind them, actually, the queens. I know the overlords look pretty freaky.
Yeah, they're a bit spiky.
It's like something you'll see in one of these weird nightclubs you might go to.
I don't know which nightclubs you've been going to recently, Apollo, but I know
I
you're
live
a party
in Los
person.
Angeles now, you know.
Oh, so yeah, that explains everything. That's a lot of lings early on here from Sue, and he loved to poke away, but that is a pretty well-positioned winner mine that somehow doesn't actually get anything done, and these lings are going to break through and actually do some damage. We've got the SCVs pull off the line, and some damage should be done here. So far, thankfully, the medevac pops out, and a little run by. Sue kills some Marines and gets a full scout, and forces a pull off of the second mineral line. I think that was a worthwhile run by there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was good. The thing is I think the scouting information's invaluable at this point of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants to know what's going on.
Yep, totally. And that means you can keep your Overlord in a safer position, maybe use it as a drop Overlord later. That's always handy to have.
Right?
Nope, that's not what it's called, and it never will be.
Okay. Just
Not gonna
checking.
happen. Nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna allow it. We need a better name for it. If you can come up with something better later on, then I'll accept it. But Dropper Lord ain't gonna be a thing. Not gonna let it. So yeah, that's great stuff, Sue. As far as I'm concerned, he gets his third base. He's secure in the knowledge of what his opponent's doing. Gumiho does have a reputation for being a little bit tricksy, despite the fact that he's been playing mostly standard this tournament. You know, he does like to lean towards mech, but with the amount of Hellions that are coming out, he actually may very well continue to commit to that. You know, this is quite old school, Banshee Hellion. We've got 6 Hellions and Cloak on the way, and an Armory. So we're actually seeing potential Hellbat push here, and there is that medevac for elevation as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are 7 queens, which is a high amount, as long as they're in one position, but he'd have to pull them to one position, which means they're not going to be lava injecting or creep spreading properly.
Could be a problem. So there's Widow Mine going down, and it gets cut off just before the deployment. We're going to see the drop here. The Banshee's going to be interesting, because, like, this Spore Crawler is currently out of position. See a bunch of roastedlings, and we're going to see some roasted drones here. They're lined up. Can he get the money shot? He does get a great one there. This has been already a drop that's paid for itself, and the Banshee isn't even in the mix yet. You know, this is great. Here comes the Cloaked Banshee, the Spore Crawler out of position. So it's going to get a few more kills as well. I'm liking this aggression really so far.
Yeah, this is really, really good.
Yeah, 11 drones.
And there's Hellions towards the third base too.
That's excellent. Wow. This is old school aggression here from Gumiho, and you know what? Sue just didn't seem like he was ready for it.
No, he's got only lings, and they're not going to stop Hellbats, are they?
No.
We learned that back in the day.
Indeed, yeah. The Hellbats might not be as godlike as they once were, but you ain't going to kill them with lings quickly. And now he's targeting down the Spore Crawlers, which is going to make those Banshees way more effective. There's 2 in the mix. Continuing to do great damage. Gets out of there. God, what a start. Loses the Banshee, unfortunately. That could have maybe got out of there, but it's a bit of an awkward one. There's not a lot of airspace at the back, but it more than paid for itself. This is a great start for Gumiho, and now he's meching. He's got 2 more factories on the way, and why not?
He is going to make it happen, and the thing is he's doing so well. He's not on the back foot at all. He's the one putting Sue on the back foot well, trying to go up to all his factories, and he's just going to keep doing this until he has an army that's sizable, where essentially he'll then just push across the map, because the infrastructure of Sue is so damaged.
Yep, you lost a lot of drones, and I mean, yes, you can recover them. You know, you look at the supply time, you're like, oh, it's fine. But think about the units that he doesn't have. Like, he doesn't have an army because he's had to deal with this. That's another 6 down. Gonna see some Banelings get killed as well. These are extremely effective Hellions. This is a very, very nice piece of aggression. Usually with 7 queens, this shouldn't work at all. But somehow Gumiho is finding ways to make it happen.
I mean, what, 20 drones killed? I think, you know, anyone who's watched StarCraft ever knows that that's not good. So, and the thing is what is he doing though, Sue, in terms of trying to build an army? He has the 1-1 upgrades coming out, but he hasn't really made a solid choice yet in terms of what that unit is. He's got the Hydralisk Den down, but the Infestation Pit coming out.
Yeah. Like, Roach Hydra Infester is a possibility. I mean, on this economy, he could go straight up to Hive, but like, he hasn't done any melee upgrades, so if he were to go for Ultralisk, then that probably wouldn't get him that far. He is up against a mech player who's building Thors as well, so I think it's mostly going to be a Baneling Hydra army by the looks of it.
Yeah. With these Hydras on the way, if he is able to catch these 2 Medivacs that have the Thors and then shuts that down, that's basically the harassment gone for Gumiho from this point, which is really, really good then for Sue to start to, you know, recover. But until that is eliminated, he's going to have to be on the back foot while Gumiho builds this army, which he's doing ever so swiftly now.
Indeed he is. Swarm Host? Now that I did not expect from Sue. That is an interesting choice. But of course, against mech, a very good one. It's a very immobile army, and that means positioning Swarm Host in the correct position will do a lot of damage. The 4th base shut down by a pretty crazy Overlord drop there. A Thor drop.
Yeah,
that was
Thor drop, man.
Bit crazy.
This is really... Sue, come on, buddy.
God, yeah, he's all over the place. For some reason, my screen has locked to Sue's point of view. I'm not sure what button I pressed. Help. I don't know what's happening. All I know is that the Zerg is getting pounded right now. Apollo, please find out what button it is. Okay, I fixed it. There we go. We fixed it. We're good. That's some strange. And here we go. Blue Flame Hellions going to break their way through. I mean, this is a two-pronged attack right now. That fourth base is never going up. He's going to have to accept that. What are the Swarm hosts going to do in this position? Where even are they? Yeah, he's got them across the map. He can devastate a base with this. But the problem is, his base is currently getting devastated as well. So he's got to commit a few Swarm hosts to defense, and then the rest of them he's going to try and attack with. He's going to deploy these flying locusts, which immediately drop right into Blue Flame Hellions. And this is the nice thing about Swarm hosts now. They can fly to their position, and then they just kill whatever they were targeted at. It's a good army.
A lot of damage, actually. They kill the Hellions really fast.
Oh, yeah. They kill command centers. Like with this, he's got 15 Swarm hosts. That's a command center in 3 seconds. Dead. Like, and with enough Hydras to defend, you can make this work. The problem is, of course, Swarm hosts for like 45 seconds are useless before they can deploy their locusts again. So
45 seconds, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, compared to the old Swarm hosts, which constantly produce, these are burst damage units. So defensively, they're not necessarily going to work that well. But here they come. Thors are a great counter to this while they're airborne, but otherwise, not so much. Here come the Hydras, and that did not do it. That didn't do it at all.
45-second window is going to sting right now.
Yeah, I think a few of them are off cooldown, and some of them are. He didn't deploy all of them, but I think he needed to there. And he's going to take some damage. He has to back away. He's got to buy some time. The Hydras are down. There's another wave of Hydras on the way, plus Banelings being added to the mix. You can't just send one or two at a time. That's not going to do it. You're going to need to get a nice big army of Locusts in order to push this back. In come the Hydras, trying to focus down these Thors. They're too tough. They're too strong. They have +2 weapon. And if Sue loses these Swarm hosts, he loses the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes another wave. Can he push this back?
Yeah, I think he can.
Hellions coming too.
Yeah, but they're too late to protect the valuable Thors and tanks. The question is, can this follow-up Hellion attack do the damage? It can not. It can, in fact. GG. Gumiho, what the hell?
What's that, 6 games now, right?
6 games in a row for Gumiho. What a
for that record.
god amongst men is Gumiho at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that all the damage, all the harassment that Gumiho achieved, the 20 workers killed or whatever that eventually escalated to, that's just a dream. That really is a dream to get that kind of leg up against the Zerg player, who's then just in recovery mode all game. I mean, he's just building drones for the majority of the game to try to catch back up.
Yeah, he really was, and he was able to do that. But like you said, he had so few units, and the effectiveness of that harassment was like beyond what I would have expected to happen. You saw 7 queens, you saw a decent creep spread, a couple of spores. You're thinking, this might get some done, but it got so much done. And it's an old school technique. And it worked, but you get Gumiho, like the master of mech, executing that. And that caught Sue completely on the back foot.
It did. That was nice. That was actually pretty impressive there from Gumiho. It all comes down to how well the Zerg can defend. Almost every single game they play, it's, are the queens in the right positions? Did he balance the units correctly that he has enough to push back the first few Hellions? If yes, this is going to become a long game. If not, he's on the back foot. And unfortunately, Sue took damage early.
That he did. A lot of it, too. Not just a couple of drones here and there. As you pointed out, 20 total. That's obscene.
Yeah.
Very hard to come back from that. It's only because his economy was, he got the early third base up that really allowed him to recover from that, and especially with the amount of queens he had. But the Swarm Host idea was a good one, but he was never able to get them into a position to really do the damage. If you are able to get some breathing room, and you can kill the third base with that, while the mech army's out of position, that puts you in a great position, because mech can't sustain itself on 2 bases like that at that stage of the game. But he wasn't able to. He had to use them defensively. And you've got to make sure they all get deployed and they all hit at the right time. You've got to use the Banelings, the Hydras, and the Locusts. You can't just use part of it. You've got to throw it all in there. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that 45-second window, or I think it's 45 seconds that you said.
Yeah, it's something like that.
That's incredible. That's imagine if you had a squad of Marines and they go in and then they just stopped for 45 seconds. That's nuts. You can't rely on those alone.
No, I don't think you can. It's a situational unit. It can be very, very dangerous given the right circumstances, but in this case, not so much. Well, let us know what you think about Gumigod's current run by tweeting hashtag ShoutCraft. We'll put the best tweets on the screen for you. And of course, we have so many games to go. We are only in Group 2 of 5. We have so many more games, and I hear rumors we might even get a bonus game with a very special player in this tournament. So keep an eye out. You usually get 20 awesome games. We might give you 21 this time around. We're feeling a little bit spicy. We got let's just say someone who we don't usually see very often really wanted to play. And if we could fit them in, we'll make it happen. All right.
Is it MC from MC and Grill?
I'm afraid I will confirm it is not MC. Wouldn't want to get people's hopes up like that. All right. You want to see TBT? You like a little bit of TBT, Apollo? I've heard that's a good matchup.
I do.
Oh, man. Well, you're about to see one hell of a TBT. This is a TBT for the ages. God, this is one of my favorite Terran ever. I love this guy. So fast, so crisp, so clean, and really smart, forward-thinking Terran player. Willing to come up with some innovative builds. It's not innovation, but it is TY.
Well. Okay, so we're just going straight for a caliber of any top-tier tournament final here.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what we do at Kings. Like, hey, you want to see a mashup of GSL and Kesper Cup from the last 3 years? We got it. Yeah. These guys love playing this tournament. Over in Korea, in particular, amongst the pro players, Kings is one of their favorites. I think the guys that lose immediately, maybe not so much, but the guys who've won money from this tournament, they really want to be in it. Like, we don't have a situation where players turn this tournament down often. It's a lot of money, and just, it's almost like gambling, you can gamble on a build and win $500.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one single map, $500 is actually insane when you think about it. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. We like to keep the stakes high, and that means people play their best, and we get some great games out of them. You've had a chance, obviously, to see some of our events. When we first launched it, the first thing that everyone said was, oh god, this is going to be a tournament of cheese, isn't it? Everyone's just going to cheese all the time because it's a best of one. Turns out, this is the least cheesy tournament in StarCraft 2. Like, almost nobody ever cheeses because they don't want to roll the dice. They know they only have one chance. Like, that's the kind of thing you do in a best of 5. In a best of 1? No. You play your best, most solid build. You don't mess around.
That makes perfect sense.
It does indeed. And it's great to see it. We've seen some top quality caliber games. Of course, we get to see foreigners fight Koreans as well. We've got plenty more foreign players coming up for you, some of the best in the world. And it's so rare that we get to see foreigners versus Koreans now. But we've had some great games here too. So, our current reigning king of the hill in the red trunks, playing Terran to the southeast position, it's Gumigod. I think he's earned that title now. His opponent, though, what a matchup. What a matchup. In the blue trunks, playing Terran for Team Splice in the northwest here on Odyssey, it's TY.
TY. Still, he's been playing for like 10 years. StarCraft still's like 19.
Yeah, baby. That was what he used to be called in Brood War because they're so young, so ridiculously young, born in 1994, full 10 years younger than me. His total tournament earnings in StarCraft 2, almost $500,000. That should give you an indicator of just how successful TY is.
It's that high.
It's that high. And bear in mind, this is a guy that, for the first few years of StarCraft, was not involved at all. He came over from Kesper when Kesper finally joined StarCraft 2, and that was several years after the launch of the game. So he didn't even get a chance at a shot at the early prize pools. And he still managed to make that much money.
Yeah, that's what's the most impressive thing about it being so high, is that he didn't make money for the first 3 or 4 years of playing StarCraft. No, well, StarCraft 2 at least. I mean, if you put StarCraft 1 in there too, he didn't make money for the first like 6 or 7 or 8 years.
Indeed. That's amazing. He's managed to really, really pile it up. Now, his current form is interesting because historically, his best matchup is TVT across his entire career. Yeah. Lately, his TVT form, he hasn't been playing really a lot of games in order to get that information. But we immediately have just a little bit of tit for tat going on here. The Reapers defending against each other. He of course, had that interesting matchup during GSL versus the World where he lost to Kelazur. He got revenge very recently in a 3-0 crushing of Kelazur, so he sort of brings that back in. But otherwise, he hasn't played against a lot of Terran. So we're going to have to see what his current form is like. Historically, he's very good.
Yeah, I'd imagine, obviously, he plays a lot every day against Terran players, so I'm expecting him to put in a pretty solid performance.
I would think so. Reaper control, second only maybe to Bjorn. So I would expect some fancy stuff. And he's going up to 3. Gumiho, actually, up to 3 Reapers. That's unusual, to say the least. I have to wonder if that's the right call. We're going to see Cyclone and Reaper. It's an interesting one. If you use your grenades correctly, then it can be a very effective way of zoning out the Cyclone or knocking the Cyclone forward into a position where it can be killed.
Is he going to try and run around to the main base?
I think he's going to give it a shot. I mean, he can't get in that way. Does he have his starport as of yet? He's jumping up with the Reapers. He could certainly do something with that. And actually, TY completely out of position here. Potential damage. And gas mining SCVs being picked off. That's always useful. Down goes the grenade. Doesn't quite get that third one. Putting down grenades to zone out and getting out. This is a nice little bit of harassment here from Gumiho.
Yeah,
and in the meantime, of course, he pushes with the Cyclone.
The front too.
Yep, they cancel out a supply depot, force these guys off the mineral line. This is a great 1-2 combination here from Gumiho.
And he's back in the main base. He's just jumping back and forth. This is really good. This is very effective.
Excellent play so far from Gumiho. That sort of mech-style opener. It's weird to kind of call Reapers part of mech, but really with Gumiho's openings, they kind of are. The whole thing's kind of been shut down at this point. But these 2 Reapers still active. Grenades being used to ward off the Cyclone to keep these alive. It's like, can I just get another one? Can I just get another one? Well, probably not. But he's going to get one final scout, which actually means he scouts the tech lab with the Cloak Banshee. So that's valuable. He should have seen that working away on something. That was a pretty good overall push.
Damage, it's what, 13 workers, a full scout of his opponent, slowed him down in a couple of positions too. As you said, it's slowing the supply depot down. Very, very good. And now even a follow-up drop to try and secure even more.
Yeah, this is a Gumiho we haven't seen in a long time. Like, this form, it's like he's relentlessly aggressive, calculating. He knows exactly what his opponent's capable of and what his units can do. And he's been just opening up in these variety of different ways and doing so much damage. Like, you cannot deny the effectiveness of Gumiho's harassment this series.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of damage, a lot. But there is a Banshee on the other side of the map, which is pretty good for TY. He's got a couple of kills himself, and
no missile turret down. Yep, there is scan energy, but there's really like nothing on the ground to defend against this. So this is the time when TY is able to really exploit the fact that Gumiho is playing aggressively and then punish him hard for that. And he's going to do a lot of damage here. Finally, the missile turret goes up, but not before the Banshee picks up 9 worker kills. He's going to get another one as well. No, he's not.
He's got a drop of his own inside the main base of TY too. It's kind of crazy all over the place.
Yeah, this is harassment drops on both sides here. This is going to be a very low economy game, I think, with what's going on. It's some crazy stuff. The Banshee's still up. It's completely denied mining here. But, of course, the main's denied mining as well. Currently, the position is very odd because the worker count is just so low on either side.
Yeah, however, there's a Viking now, which means the Banshee will get pushed out of that base.
Gotta get out.
There's nothing currently to push out the units left from Gumiho inside TY's base.
Yeah, that's a problem. There are a couple of Banshees that should pick that off, but of course, with good drop micro, it's going to be hard to actually kill those Marines. The tank could be killed, but of course, that's going to be evacuated eventually. There's the cloak coming in. Scan goes down. It's like he can't really afford to lose this main CC, even if he does have a third day. That's a big loss at this stage of the game. And in comes the Banshee once again with SCVs to repair. We've got a tank here for TY. Will that be enough to clean this up? This is the most irritating stain. Nothing is getting it out. Finally, this aggression will end. Good God.
I know. But only for a split second, though. Because
he's got more.
He is coming over with more.
Yeah, and look at the army supply. Gumiho has double what his opponent does. Like, these cloaked Banshees, they're useful. I have to wonder how much scan energy is left. Well, Gumiho's been saving it. Because he knows those cloaked Banshees are the reason why he could lose this fight.
Yeah. That single tank there is going to defend the natural, but yeah, I thought this might happen. He could drop in the main, and now he's got a very strong position.
Oh god, yeah, he deploys Excellent position. There's the Cloak, but the scan's already down. He's got multiple scans available, so Cloak's not going to help. He has to get this Banshee repaired. It's so low in HP. Down it goes. Second one's going to get focused as well. This could be yet another win for Gumiho at this rate. There's nothing left on the ground. GG! 7 maps won for Gumiho.
Gumiho, just bring it on. Bring it on, TotalBiscuit. What have you got? What have you got for me?
I've got more, but Jesus.
7 wins is ridiculous. Very impressive.
Absolutely relentless from Gumiho, just destroying everybody in his path. 7-win streak. That's got to be the 3rd highest.
Oh, really?
In ShoutCraft history, I think. Yeah, because I think the second highest was 8, and the highest was 11.
Ooh.
Gumiho.
Well, that kind of. I mean, how long have you been doing this now? It's definitely over a year, right?
We've had 10, 11 tournaments, I think.
Wow.
So we've had a lot of time to really gather those stats and figure out what's going on, but this is a streak that we really haven't seen in a while.
What is it, like 4 Terran or 4 TVTs or 3 TVTs, 2 Protoss players and 2 Zergs? I think, or maybe 4, right?
Yeah, let me just check. I'm interested to know what the
3-2-2 it should be, I think.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, for 7 games, 3-2-2. So that's pretty. I mean, that's as balanced as you can go, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he's the current body count looks like this, right? Gumiho's beaten Bly, Special, Zest, Supernova, Trap, Sue, and TY. That's a freaking lineup.
Yeah, like that's very, very good.
It really
is. You could say, hey, did you watch GSL last season of GSL when Gumiho made that run and won the tournament and he beat Zest, Supernova, Trap, Sue, TY? Like, yeah.
It's a compressed little GSL and a tiny, easily watched package is what this tournament is. And it is. This is absolutely killer. And you guys apparently have a lot of comments to make on that. We've had a lot of tweets coming in. I'll show you during the next game what you have to say about Gumiho. He is just on fire right now. I look at it and I'm thinking, what? Every match he's played, he's never really looked in danger. Like, which do you think was the closest? I think maybe he was on the ropes a bit against Trap.
Yeah,
but he definitely pulled that back.
Yeah, I think Trap. I think was definitely the most dangerous one. Let me look at the players again. Help me memorize. I think Trap.
I think it's got to be, yeah. I mean, TY is very good, but that was a pretty short match, and it was a knife fight. I mean, they were both at each other's throats on that one.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely Trap. Definitely Trap.
Yeah. Everyone else, though, it's...
So the thing is if you think about the Trap game, it really... I mean, that was the closest of all of them. But if you think about it, it wasn't that close still.
No.
It was definitely dangerous in a couple of moments. You're like, oh, gosh, like, you're in a little trouble here. But it wasn't like, oh, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid performance today from Gumiho.
Yeah, the innovation streak actually was 10, not 11. So Gumiho is 3 maps away from equaling the greatest streak in this tournament's history.
Oh my gosh.
And 1 map away from equaling the second best, which was Nurchio's streak. This is...
All right.
What
so
hell
someone had his Weetabix this morning.
Hey, I don't know what the hell he's eaten, but I want some. God damn it. It's amazing. We might have to have a 2 versus 1 at this point. Maybe get an Archon going against him.
Yeah. That's the 21st game, is if he wins every single game today, it becomes the 2v1.
Yes.
All right, well, I guess the question now is, who have you going to bring in to try to take him down?
Well, I've got some ideas.
Okay.
It's often, in a position like this, you've got to, like, throw a curveball, right? Like, Gumiho is really, really practiced against pretty much everyone on the Korean ladder. Like, you're not going to catch him off guard with a Korean player, so maybe we have to throw a foreigner at him, see what they can do. You know, they often have different ideas about an approach to this matchup. And bear in mind, the more of Gumiho people get to watch in this tournament, the more they figure out what style he's playing. Right. So Gumiho's position gets progressively weaker as we go on through this event, since people get to see exactly what he's been doing. But I think he's been varying it up quite a bit.
Okay. I'm not in the game lobby, so I'm not cheating at all. thinking about who you could possibly throw at him. So I know there's a bunch of guys in Korea at the moment.
Yep, there
that
are.
you could do that way. I know Neeb's in America at the moment.
He
That
is,
could
yeah.
be one. I don't know who's in Korea exactly. I believe that Snoot's there at the moment. I think Tilo is there as well. Obviously, we've already seen Special. That's my initial thought process. I could be completely off. I don't know where you throw at this one. I'm not going to load the lobby either. I'm just going to fully surprise myself. Unless you tell me, Sean, you're not even in the lobby. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, let me just...
his opponent's not here yet, actually. I think everyone's running in fear. I was going to get someone, and they're currently not around, so we're going to have to just swap things around.
Okay. Now that truly does put a curveball in, and I have no idea what to expect. But wow, 7 games, eh?
Man.
7 games.
All right.
You got a name?
I have a name. I
Okay.
had to pick a different one from our lineup because currently the one that I wanted wasn't there. But
okay, then I will wait with full anticipation on who's gonna stop Gumiho. And to be honest, though, it's funny when you build up such a win streak and you take down the caliber of names you are. It's funny because sometimes you send another player out who's not quite as good sometimes, and you're like, oh well, he just can't win, right? Because he's already beaten 5 players who are better than this single guy. But then, from my experience of watching these tournaments and seeing it over the years, it's not necessarily like that.
no, it really isn't. Like you could look at the lineups. You could look like, oh, who has he historically lost against? Is it going to make any damn difference in a best of one? Often, no. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Question is now though, what race is it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking right now, we look at it and we're thinking, so far, it's probably, his weakness is probably Protoss. I mean, maybe we haven't seen enough Zerg to get it. In TBT, I've thrown some of the best we've got and they haven't touched him. So I'm thinking,
okay,
we gotta do a Protoss, and we gotta do a really good one. You know, Zest is great, but he's not on top form right now. Trap did well, but certainly not top tier. We need a top tier Protoss.
Okay. Well, I mean, who do you have?
I can tell you right now. At least I bloody well hope he shows up, because otherwise this announcement's going to be awkward as hell. All right. I have found someone I think might do the trick. So, Gumiho is 7 wins in. The numbers don't lie, folks. They spell disaster for you, potentially on Abyssal Reef. But there is a man who knows his numbers. There's a man who has lived and died on the back of them. A man by the name of Stats.
Well, okay. That's keeping up with the let's throw another fantastic player at him. Because, I mean, I know that I haven't been following closely recently, but I do know that he has won a couple of tournaments this year.
Yes.
And he is considered like the best Protoss, so...
Yep. We're looking at the guy that won very recently the Star League Season 2. First place against Dark. 4 games to 3. One of the best series of the year, actually. One of the best PvZ. Highly recommend watching it. He has placed... This has really been Stats' year for good finishers. Like, he has placed in the top 4 of 7 major tournaments. He's won 2 of them. He won GSL in March against Sue. He is doing really well, and he's actually playing in online events as well, so he's getting yet more experience. He's winning Kung Fu Cups and things like that. So,
surely must be a favorite, you know, thinking macro perspective here as a favorite for BlizzCon this year. Has to be. With that type of result.
I mean, he is number 1 in WCES career ranked points.
Yeah.
He is going in with the top possible seed. So, yeah, I would say he is. I mean, arguably right now, if you base it on those numbers, this is the best Protoss in the world. This is what I got. This is what I've got to throw at him. I'm going to throw the best Protoss in the world at Gumiho, and if that doesn't do the job, I don't know. I'm going to have to start throwing AI bots at him, I think, at this point.
Well, this certainly should be good. This is going to be a nice one. I mean, I feel like I'm saying that every single match.
They're all good. Well, these are all good matchups. And watching Gumiho tear opponent after opponent limb from limb, it's not going to stop being entertaining for me. I love Gumiho to death, and this is a great proof of him. I mean, he's never played this well in a Kings. Not even close. This is his time right now. To the southeast position, the reigning God King in the red trunks playing Terran, Psystorm Gaming's Gumiho. To the northwest position, in the yellow trunks playing Protoss, the #1 WCS ranked career player. Star League winner, GSL winner. Just a god amongst Protoss. It splices stats.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I am quite interested to see if Stats follows a similar pattern to what we saw from Zest and Trap, who did deploy similar styles. They definitely weren't identical, but they were similar, where it was the strategy around using the oracles into the fast third base, into trying to, build up fast enough, whether it was units or upgrades. So that'll be interesting to see if he does that or if it's completely different. But one thing's for sure is Gumiho's on top of his scouting and stuff, so you can't really be cheeky like that.
No, not really. We haven't seen a lot of success from players that have tried to do that to Gumiho up to this point. So, and I wouldn't expect it from Stats either. Stats is actually just going to go straight one gate expand, no messing, no fuss, play a straight up game. I mean, I've never known Stats for being a massively cheesy player. Like, that's not the kind of guy he is. He plays good, strong macro games. He plays to his strengths. He's just mechanically crisp, perfect, just pretty much the ultimate Protoss right now.
Well, that's what's going to be required to stop Gumiho, because, I mean, we all know that Gumiho is a very, very good player, but he's also just on form today. Like, he's playing incredibly well. There's very minimal mistakes he's making. So it's going to take a hell of a player to beat a guy like that.
Yeah, well, it absolutely will. I am really enjoying this so far. It's a good streak is always fun to watch.
Yeah.
And that's totally what we're getting here. Stargate going down, but not proxied. No, we would not expect that from Stats. That would be unusual. Gumiho, laser factory this time. Going straight for the barracks command center with the reactor. So, pretty solid, and also a wall off against potential adept run-bys.
Yeah, and it seems like he's using, the same build quite a few times in a row, where he gets a pretty fast winner mine very early on. Could even get a medivac from the starport to turn that winner mine defensive initially into some form of aggression.
Yeah.
So, it seems like he knows a build that he's very comfortable with, in both terms of potential aggression and initial defense at first.
Yeah, I would say he does. He's going to have a look around and see what he can see. This will be probably a less aggressive Gumiho versus what we've seen previously. I think against a player like Stats, you don't want to mess around too much. Stats has a very, very good defense. Like, I would never try to be impetuous against him. Like, you make one mistake, he is going to punish your drop, he is going to wipe it out. And that's a very, very fast third here from Stats. Like,
it's the same again, like Zest and Trap.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of that. It's currently very much in vogue for Protoss to do it. If you use a couple of adepts to bottle your opponent in, your opponent's not crazy aggressive, you can get away with it. And I think versus what Gumiho's building, I think he might have got away with it. Like, if this was a more aggressive opening, maybe a Cyclone opening, then that would have been a bit riskier, but it's not.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do just fine off of the back of this.
And just looking at patterns... hold on for a sec, 'cause I want to see if this Oracle does damage.
He's looking for it. I don't think he's going to get it. He might drop a Revelation and then get out, which is probably the best thing he can do in this situation.
Yeah, in terms of patterns, then, what I was going to say is that, number one, is Gumiho doesn't have anything out on the map to scout this third, which was one of the biggest differences between the previous games, where he did see that third early. And then another thing I noticed is that a Void Ray's being built. This just wasn't there in the other games either, which is an interesting add-on, for sure.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. It will help kill Vikings pretty quickly. Not bad for focusing down siege tanks, So it might help, and it's going to help keep those oracles alive as well. If you can keep those oracles in the mix, you can use stasis traps. You can do things like this. And for the first time, we see Gumiho maybe making a mistake when it comes to the defenses. He does take an oracle out, but that's 10 workers killed with that Oracle attack. That was a
question is,
strong
though,
strike.
Does what Gumiho have marching across the map defeat what Stats currently has?
It very well might. That's the concern. The Void Ray is up. That's going to be key to this defense if you can bring this siege tank down. This is a hard contain. Missile turret, bunker being added on. Like, this is not where you want to fight if you can avoid it. I wouldn't want to go into there at all. The Void Ray is in the mix, however. It's focusing down the siege tank, and he gets it before the lift. That's a big, big deal. There is another tank reinforcing. In comes the Oracle right behind. They're very weakened units. The Oracle decimates the majority of the Marines. But there is still an army here. This contain has not gone. This aggression has not stopped.
I should send more SUVs to try and complete that bunker. If that bunker gets up,
that's going to be a problem. There's no doubt. With the Void Ray down, you know, even if he's building another one, it's going to take time to get up. It's going to be hard to crack that bunker. But what's interesting is sending all of these SCVs over. I mean, Gumiho's economy was already in a mess. Like, he's committing even more to it. Like, this is all or nothing here for Gumiho. He's got to do massive economic damage here. And Zest can afford to lose a base. The third is up. I mean, I even wonder if Gumiho actually knows about it. He doesn't. He's got to suspect it, surely. If he really believes that the Protoss is on 2 bases, he's gravely mistaken here. And this contain isn't going to do the job.
The longer Stats survives, the more units he'll have, because all these gateways are finishing up. And then you add on the fact that he's getting all these upgrades too. It's only going to get better for Stats from this point.
Yeah, it will. It absolutely will. You know, you see he's now going to go mine from his third. Like, okay, you're going to pick away at this. This is not going to get anything done. Adepts got past. They are available for a flank, and all we need to see is a patient Stats here. And that's, if you don't see a Stats make a move before he's absolutely ready. And he feels like he is. He's going to come in from both sides. Look at this. It's a flank. He's going to jump on top of it. I think he's got what he needs to break this. And here we go. The Void Ray taken out very quickly, though. That bunker is going to be a problem. He doesn't have the bunker cracking capability, but he might just have enough units. No, he does not. He doesn't. He wasn't able to keep the Void Ray up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Gumiho holds.
No way.
Yes, he will, and the Void Ray is going to go down as well. Yet again, that bunker is still up. Gumiho,
I think that was it.
I think he did it. Like,
I think Stats threw everything at him. That was the attack he was meant to win with.
Yeah, and it should have. You would have thought it would have, but great focus fire kills the Void Ray very early. Gumiho realizes, look, that's an adept heavy army. My linchpin is a bunker. If I could somehow keep the bunker up, I win this fight. And he did. And now Stats is struggling. He's moving in just a few adepts at a time. It's not enough. He has that third base up, but Gumiho's going to spot it now. And I don't think Stats has got the units to defend.
Oh, man.
Holy crap.
He's going in for it the last time, I think.
Yeah, this is it. And is it going to be enough to clear it up? There's 3 tanks. It is going to clear it up, I think. No, it's not. He's got a couple more. That should do it. There's more reinforcements, though. Another tank comes in. If he starts to micro these tanks, adepts aren't going to be able to stop that. Oh, my God. There's a 4th base. Stats is building a 4th base behind this. He's like, I have to survive. I know I have more economy than you do. And he's kind of right. He does. And Stats is going to clear this up. He's lost his natural, obviously, but this is a wild game. Look at the number of resources that Stats has lost. It's half of what Gumiho lost. So even with this economic lead, I don't know if that puts Stats ahead. I don't think it does.
That was very close there. Well, I guess at the end of the day, Stats has pushed Gumiho off. And now Gumiho has to retreat back to completing his regular upgrades, such as Stim and combat shields. Well, I thought for a second that could have gone either way. I thought Stats was going to break it. Then all of a sudden, Gumiho was still there. Then Gumiho was pushing.
That bunker contain. We don't see it very often, but against an adept heavy Protoss, it's a very, very good idea. Yeah. And it proved its worth. That was, you know, you can salvage the damn things. It's barely a risk to put them there. And once he was able to get that contain in place, that presented a huge problem for Stats. Wow.
And the game goes on.
It does. This is going to be one of our longer games here. Everything's pretty much reset. Our current situation is we've got the 3rd base coming for Gumiho. This is a bit of a problem. Gumiho's almost mined out in his main, so he needs that 3rd. And
he doesn't want to cancel this, or wouldn't want to.
No, but he might have to.
I mean, he's pushing.
You think he's going to go again? I mean, this has got to be his last push, right? Like, he's mined out across his main and his expansion. So if he can't win here, then he's in serious trouble. I mean, there's 3 bases active for Stats.
Yeah.
He's going to lose one of them, I think. And I think that's what Stats needs to do, is like sacrifice a base delay Gumiho, get the biggest army you can, and then defend. And if he's able to do that, that'll be great. This is obviously a nasty position for a mineral line to be in, because that's going to get shelled to hell. But I think you give that 4th up, and you just wait. Build more units. But honestly, look at the amount of adepts he's got. Maybe that's enough. And bear in mind, Gumiho, his upgrade count, it's not that good. I mean, neither is stats either, but he's going for it. This is a big adept attack. But will he have enough to make it work? The answer is, well, no, he will not. That was a disaster. GG. What the hell? Gumiho is 8 maps in.
Oh boy, that was a fun game. That was really good.
Wild. So wild.
I love it. You've got a nice little win streak. You're getting some very entertaining games out of this as well. 8 games now. Unstoppable. You've thrown 3 very, very good and 1 world class, the #1 Protoss at this guy, and he still wins.
Oh my. Oh.
Yeah. Unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Gumiho has reached godhood, and he is gunning for innovation streak. He's just managed to match the second biggest streak in ShoutCraft history, which is 8. Against very good players. 2 more, he becomes #1. And you know the crazy thing about this is, right? This is the ranks earnings page.
Yeah.
The highest earning player is Nurture with $4,250. Now, since we have upped the prize pool, it is entirely possible, with 1 more win, assuming these numbers are right, Gumiho will be the highest earning ShoutCraft Kings player after only 1 tournament.
No, it's... Oh boy. When did the prize money increase to 500 a game? How long ago was that?
That was 1 tournament ago.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
recent?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Pretty much.
What was it before that then? 200 or 150 to...
It was 250.
Ah, okay, so doubled up. Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. Wow.
Yeah,
8
it's good
games.
money. 8
So,
games.
Yeah, and that's 3 Terrans and 3 Protoss now. 2
Yep.
Zerg.
2 Zerg. I think we're going to go back to Zerg. Let's
Okay.
give that another shot. Let's see who maybe someone could throw him off balance.
Well, the 2 games that we did see that Gumiho played against Zerg, I mean, they were pretty one-sided, I'd like to say, right? The Bly game was not that close at all, and the Sue game wasn't that close.
Yeah, because he took so much damage early game that regardless of how good Sue is, he's not good enough to break that.
But I think no one's going to argue with you that we need to see 3-3-3.
We do. Yeah, we absolutely do. And that's, I'm going to give it to you. Don't worry, X will deliver to you. It's reliable, I'll tell you. X delivery service, the most reliable available. We deliver great games consistently across ShoutCraft Kings. And thank you to everybody that's tuned in. Just past 10,000 viewers on the stream. We'd love to get even higher than that. So tell your friends. Use the hashtag ShoutCraft to get your messages on the stream. Put out your messages of support for either Gummy God. You might want to bow down to your new God King. You know, getting in good with him early on might be useful. Or, of course, support his opponent. Somebody, you want Gumiho dead? Well, you're going to have to find someone very, very good to make that happen. Tell you that for a fact. Wow.
It's so funny. I can see in my head like a comic of you literally throwing everything that's in the kitchen at this guy and nothing is working. From the initial spoons to the knives to the dishwasher itself. Gumiho just isn't stoppable right now. That's crazy.
No.
8 games.
8 games. And of course, if he gets
$4,000 too. So.
Yep.
Oh, Gumiho. Gumi God. It's quite a well, I suppose evening for him. Quite a lucrative evening.
Yep.
Of fun and games playing the old StarCraft.
Yeah, I would say so. Incidentally, the numbers were slightly inaccurate because we didn't take into account one BlizzCon win where we actually did this tournament at BlizzCon, a shortened version of it.
Yeah.
And it resulted in Nurture actually picked up a win there. So his total winnings are $5,750. So it would take a few more games to be top, but after this one, he is in second place earnings-wise. So,
wow.
So Innovation's numbers on there are correct. Nurtio's are not. So, innovation, $4,125. So, we'll see second place earnings for Gumiho if he manages to pull this off. All right. I found you a Zerg.
Okay.
I found you an unusual Zerg. I found you a Zerg that can catch people off guard. I found you a Zerg that maybe consistently flies under the radar, but has been a player that people have been paying a lot of attention to lately, especially after his performance at IEM Shanghai. He beat Hero 4-1. It's Rogue.
Okay. Now this is going to be a good one. This isn't the type of game where you're like, oh, this is like GSL final game. This is more of an interesting one from my perspective in terms of what exactly is Rogue going to do to stop Gumiho?
It's a good question. But Rogue is a very creative player.
Yeah.
He's very, very good. And, like, here's the thing. Look at his records recently. 3-0 against Maru. That was 2 days ago, actually. I think it might have even been the GSL Super Tournament. It was, whatever it was, it was the GSL Super Tournament, round of 16. 3-0 Maru. He beats Gumiho in the Oli Mo League Weekly, 3-2. But the week before that, in the Ballistics Brawl, he loses to Gumiho 3-1. So these guys have a bit of a rivalry going on right now, and they're currently quite well matched. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. And here we are. The challenger to the throne in the northeast position from Jin Air in the blue trunks playing Zerg, it's Rogue. Will he be able to steal the powers of a god? To the southwest position in the red trunks, playing Terran, Psystorm's Gumiho.
Don't know how much you've got left up the sleeve here to throw at Gumiho.
I've got a lot.
Okay. All right, we'll see. Rogue, this should be a fun one. I've always liked Rogue actually, as a player. I think I liked him quite a lot around the 2014 days, excuse me. But yeah, he did win a tournament this year.
Yep, finally. Took a while. Now, he's been a bit of a dark horse for a long time, but he very much deserves that. Of course, one of the few remaining team houses in Korea, Jin Air, still active, and pumping out some great players as a direct result of that. You know, very much a stalwart linchpin of the Korean scene. And here's an interesting stat for you. Alugalak considers Gumiho one of Rogue's primary victims. So they have stats across the various tournaments. And in terms of Gumiho versus Rogue in lifetime, Rogue has +9 when it comes to the win-loss ratio. So she's won in maps. 9 maps over Gumiho. Recently, though, it's been very, very even. So this is going to be interesting. But Rogue is a pretty solid counter to Gumiho, historically.
Yeah, from what I've seen is, I mean, I could be not accurate here, but from what I've seen is Rogue more recently has been very macro-oriented.
Yes,
like
he has,
very heavy, you know, producing a lot of units and overwhelming your opponent's style. And I think that's kind of how he won Shanghai, if I remember correctly, too.
Yeah,
and his builds was like that too here.
You know, and I think that's going to work. Again, like, here's a weird inconsistency I've noticed. I think it's because Gumiho has never allowed it to happen. Gumiho has never really been on the defensive against a huge flood of units at any point. He's always been the aggressor, or he's done so much economic damage that by the time the armies clash, the opposing army is way smaller than it otherwise would have been. So Gumiho seems to have always been fighting with the numbers advantage. The question is, if a player could flip that around, especially a player like Rogue, would Gumiho be able to play the defender and properly hold that?
Well, this game could actually just show us that kind of answer.
I think so, with Rogue in particular, yeah.
Interested to see if Gumiho will play mech again, because he chose mech earlier. This map, I would say, favors that because of how easy it is to get towards the 6 geysers. That's always kind of key in playing mech, especially when you've got a given base at the back. But previously, when he did play mech, he was aggressive initially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right off the bat. And this is not this can be mech, but it's not like a big opener that's immediately mech. You know, this is standard marine tank. You can very easily go into mech out of this. and Gumiho can transition into mech in a variety of different ways. But we're going to see some classic Gumiho aggression. So 6 Marine plus Widowmine drop. And this will be the initial test for Rogue. Will his defenses hold up against Gumiho's harassment? Rogue has got to be aware of what Gumiho's been doing the last few games. I mean, he's had no way of missing it, so he must be prepared for that harassment. And as it turns out, this base here looks a little vulnerable to it.
Yeah, just like Sue, the start of a game against Terran, you cannot take damage. It's that simple.
No, you can't. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the creep linked up between his pocket base and the main, so that means Gumiho's going to have a lot of maneuverability. So far, though, no damage done, but he's keeping the Zerg player honest. He's going to try and maybe hit the third, see what he can do there.
And there's no Hellions being created. There's actually just a Medivac with another couple of tanks and Marines around, so he might just do kind of double up a little bit. But so far, this is good. Like, there's no damage being sustained, which is the key here. Yeah,
and we've seen that in almost every other game. Gumiho has done damage initially, put his opponent on the back foot, and then continued that momentum forward. Maybe if you can't get that momentum, maybe that's the way you finally stop Gumiho.
So it looks like 2 more Medivacs have been loaded up back at home. Gumiho's going to wait for 3.
Gumiho almost loses the dropship. That would be uncharacteristic. Look at the spread here from Rogue. Rogue is getting very aggressive with his creep spread, realizing, well, Gumiho is a very aggressive player with these big tank pushes. Let's do something like that. And wow, things are getting a bit odd. We're seeing double armory coming into play. Gumiho going full mech here.
All right, this is going to be make or break now. These Medivacs on this back base.
Can he do something with it? Because if not, this is going to be a very interesting game. And no, he can't. Like, he can't get in there. It's too well defended. He can maybe... I would have thought the natural's a better idea. Not the natural per se, but the third base. Maybe a better idea to poke on there. But he's been committing to that pocket base, and it's a really easy to defend base. Like, if you look at the angles you've got to come in at, it's really hard to get a dropship in there without taking fire. Man, so double armory.
Good news. Very good news for Rogue. Yeah, and the thing is there was a Zergling that ran into the main base that saw the double armory. So if Rogue was suspecting that he could play mech, he now knows for sure too.
It's 100% mech. No doubt about it. Yep. And very committed to it. And we immediately see the Spire go down, which is honestly a good answer. The Thor takes a while to get going.
Yeah. I mean, I lost to an inferior player back in the day to Semler because I didn't build turrets or Thors.
Now, nasty burn against Semler there. You always got to get that little dig in from the good house.
I lost to Semler.
Man, I'm glad to know that the good old Too Good influence has not entirely left your system, Apollo.
No. God damn it. So, yeah, you got make sure to build your anti-air if a guy has a Spire.
Yep. Fourth base on the way up here. And so far, Rogue has really got this harassment defense down to a T. But he is going to be facing heavily upgraded mech. The Mutalisks are going to be a problem. Thors, sure, they deal well with Mutas, but you need a few of them, and they're not very maneuverable. So you've got to watch out there. Thankfully, the bases are not that far apart. At least on this 3-base setup, you can play this, and Mutas can't necessarily dance all over the place and outmaneuver the Thor. Got a interesting. Wow, he had to actually use a point defense drone to escape there. He was looking for Raven harassment, but Rogue's all over it. Rogue is looking really good this game. He is buttoned up everywhere. There's no weaknesses, no holes to exploit.
Yeah, and he even sees these Hellions on the left-hand side too, so he should have him Roaches in position to stop any potential run-bys. But yeah, this is very, very good. Mutalisks are out now, too, in the middle of the map.
Indeed, and there's a lot of them. 13 already. That's significant. We'll see what he can do with it.
And there are no turrets.
Yeah, this is going to catch him completely off guard. He hasn't faced this in ages. I mean, that's 3 tanks right there. You know, there's only one Thor. You could take those tanks out and get into the mineral line. Thor, of course, being used with the Medivac, a pretty badly damaged Medivac. He's got to be careful that the Mutas don't just turn around and shoot it down with the Thor inside. That would be devastating. And Gumiho's going to have to go back to base. He can't drop anymore. Not with these amount of Mutas. He does manage to almost pick one off there, but a flock of 13 Mutas is a big investment. So we're going to see some damage done with it, but it immediately, even without doing damage, has the effect of Gumiho leaves Rogue's side of the map. He can't be there anymore. Oh, man, here he goes. Jumps on top of it. That's a lot of muta. He is able to take out the Raven before it's able to really add anything in there as well. Takes a couple of tanks out. That's a good use. I mean, he sacrifices 3 mutas for a lot of damage.
Yeah, I noticed that the Thor's missing too. As you said, with he was flying around with the Thor and the low health Medivac, instantly
it got shot down. Yeah, very risky. 3 Thors at a time being produced now. So, I think we're in a position where Gumiho has got a turtle, and he's got to get 3-3, and he's going to have to get those high-tier units. The problem is, you're not going to get a turtle very well if you get picked apart like this. Gumiho's been running so many games with a lack of static defense, and now he has to get it, because these Mutalisks are proving very, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're completely right in terms of he's got to sit back. He did just scan the main base and saw the hive on the way, so maybe he knows something out.
All right, this isn't going to get anything done. So, but I think honestly he's throwing away units right now. He wants something else. Like, it looks like he's going to go Vipers. He's probably going to go, Hydra, Viper, something along those lines. That would work. That would be a pretty effective kind of build. And now Gumiho's saying, right, I'm going to aggressively push you out. But look at this. I mean, this side of the map is untouched.
Yeah, this is what happens when a Zerg player goes untouched. It's a very scary thing to play against. And now Gumiho needs to kind of choose how he's going to play this. Does he want to try to push? Does he know what he's even pushing into and why? Or is he just going to, as you say, go to 3-3 and try to build the best possible, most efficient army he could possibly make?
I think that's probably his best option at the moment. The upgrades are looking very, very good. Even the Vikings are going to benefit from this because they get the armor. The mutas were never upgraded and probably won't. Wait, there's a second spire going down. That's interesting. We're going Broodlord, and it looks like double spire upgrades off the back of this. That is crazy. And I mean, but to be fair, what better army to beat a full-on turtle mech than massively upgraded Broodlords and Vipers?
Right, and if you don't have the sufficient Viking count, which just isn't the case in this game, then you aren't going to stop it either.
No, and he's been making sure that Viking count stays low. He's been aggressively attacking them with his flock of Mutalisks, sacrificing a few here and there, but keeping that Viking count at a low level. And these Vikings will be hard to shoot down, but there are no air damage upgrades. So against a very, very tough set of Broodlords, Vikings will kill them, but maybe not fast enough. And that's my concern. At the moment, though, without this... Oh, we're going to get a fight here. And down go the Blinding Clouds. Very, very effective use of Blinding Cloud there. I don't think he can attack fully into this, and he does need to back off. But that did massively impede the Thor's ability to really add to that fight. In the meantime, more Mutalisk Harass. This is so good by Rogue. He's finding every single little tiny chink in the armor to go after.
And funny enough, he's not replenishing the units he lost, the Roach Hydra he lost with the Corruptors ready for Broodlords. He's only building more Roach Hydra.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Staying on this level at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he built that second spire, which, I mean, that almost makes me think it was a mistake. But, I mean, you can get double upgrades off that. But bear in mind, to get air to 3-3 from 0-0 takes ages. So right now, I think Rogue's thinking, I need an army that can fight and hold the Terran back while I transition to my final big game-ending combo. At the moment, though, big upgrades for ranged units. Those Hydras do massive damage with what he's got there. Viper's getting picked off, though, and this is going to get messy for both sides. Is there enough Zerg to break this? These Thors are just blasting through the Hydras, and no, there is not enough Zerg. Turtle Mech holds and holds well.
So now there is an opportunity for Gumiho to push because the Corruptors are on the way.
Yeah.
And this is obviously, naturally, when you kill off a Zerg army like that, is the window to strike.
Yes.
And this could be his opportunity to go and continue that winning streak.
Yep. It's a slow push, though. It's going to take a while to do anything. And, it's the point where I think he can afford to lose a base here. He's looking okay. I wouldn't want to engage into that. There's not enough... I mean, Zerg right now doesn't have what it needs to do it. You can bring the Corruptors in and maybe try and pick up some Vikings, but they're level 3 armored Vikings against unupgraded Corruptors. They're not going to die very fast. So at the moment, I think the best thing he can do is maybe flank, do a few run-bys, and try and get that Broodlord army done. He comes around the back, picks off a tank, not quite enough, but a nice little maneuver nonetheless. But I'm looking at the Zerg composition, I'm like, what has he got, and does he have enough? Because Gumiho right now has a ball of death. And there's not enough Zerg here to stop it.
There's not. There's a counterattack on the other side from Rogue to try and do more damage, but that will eventually get cleaned up. The question is, will these Broodlords, the 8 that he has, be effective enough to prevent this attack?
Well, my concern is he hasn't killed enough Vikings yet. He's bringing the Queens in to do that, and the Corruptors in as well. And now the Broodlords are up. They are unupgraded. That's my main concern. They will do a lot of damage, absolutely, but will it be enough? Starting to push these Thors back. They're being bombarded. But the armor of the Thors are very, very thick. It's going to take a while to bring them down, and those Broodlords are taking damage from that high-impact payload. However, it looks like it is enough. There's not enough on the ground to hold it, and slowly but surely, Gumiho's army has been ground back, and the Broodlord transition, it was late. It was definitely late, but it looks like it may have just been in the nick of time.
Yeah, and because of the way that Rogues kind of built up money throughout the game, didn't really lose too much early on, and was mining very efficiently very early, he had a lot of money in the bank, and he's just built like 1,000 roaches, which are about to move with the Broodlords across the map. And you aren't replenishing a mech army anytime soon, especially when a counterattack takes out one of your mining lines. Yeah.
Decent amount of tanks, but all the Thors are gone. Those roaches will do fairly well. They're extremely well upgraded. I mean, you can't get any more upgrades than that. Maybe it would be nice to see some of these be Ravagers, because they're going to take a ton of damage from the tanks. If you switch them over to Ravagers, of course, they lose that armored quality, so they don't take the extra damage. Maybe worth a shot, especially against that very stationary army. Right now, though, he's looking for run-bys. This is the problem. Gumiho is very slowly taking a 4th and can't take a 5th.
Yeah, Gumiho's definitely... He needs to expand. He needs to get another base up.
Yeah, exactly. The mech army is very expensive to replenish. Gumiho's gas count is nowhere near where it needs to be. The run-bys are coming in, but there's now Broodlords positioned to defend against them. So Rogue is looking great, and Gumiho, for the first time in this whole series, looks like he's in real trouble.
He is, and his winning streak might come to an end here. I mean, 200 supply versus a measly 150 at the moment.
Yep, and the upgrades. Look at the Broodlord upgrades are starting to creep in. That's some nasty stuff. You know, you get that armor up to 3. They go down way slower. Of course, the Broodlords have a 2-component attack. Broodling Strike, which does guaranteed damage, and then the Broodlings on the ground, which use melee. Now, if I recall correctly, he didn't upgrade melee. No, he did not. But he does have Carapace, which means that those little Broodlings are going to be just a little bit harder to kill. And the more of these upgrades that come in, the more dangerous these Broodlords will be. So, Gumiho's army, he is trying to take a 5th, and he has to be able to hold it. But I'm really worried. There's not enough anti-air here to make it work.
He's got to keep cranking Vikings and Thors.
He does, yes.
For sure. Because obviously, like, the 5 or 6 tanks he has are good, and they'll take care of any Roach Hydra as long as there's enough buffer in front of them. But it's getting to these Broodlords.
It's hard to get in there. The only concern I have right now is that there are only 3 Vipers. Like, I'd like to see a few more added into the mix. That would really make this Zerg army pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah. And what's the Corruptor count? It's pretty, well, non-existent.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. Like, being able to remove the Vikings, he really only has the Hydras for that, and they won't last long with tanks and fully upgraded Hellbats in the mix. So that could be a problem. But the Broodlords may do enough damage before they get taken out, and that might not even matter. But there are only 7. You know, maybe we are overestimating the importance of the Broodlords right now, because I don't think that's a critical mass. You know, I think there's a few more.
25 Roaches, 11 Hydralisks.
Oh, this isn't gonna work, and that's a lot of dead Vikings. But look at the Parasitic Bomb! Parasitic Bomb in the middle! He has to get out of there before he takes too much more damage. He managed to get out with most of it intact. He's chasing them down. He wants to take a few more out. If he was able to take down that Viking count, that would have been it. I mean, the Broodlords would have gone uncontested. Another Roach run-by clears out 12 workers for Gumiho. This is proving to be very effective. The economy of Gumiho is in a really bad state right now.
Especially when you compare it directly to what Rogue has in the bank, right? He has essentially another 200 supply army ready to go, especially if it's Roaches.
Yep, and he's adding 4 more Vipers. He lost the Vipers in that engagement. He's got to get some more. He realized how important those are against the Thors and the tanks. Gumiho is marching, and it might not be a bad time to do it. With Vipers unavailable, they're going to have to drain some energy. They're not going to really be a part of this fight. He could, but that is not what you want to do. You do not want to go into a circle of fire like that. Got to be careful. Where are those Broodlords? Are they in position? They're actually out of position right now, defending the 5th. And so far, Gumiho continues to successfully march forward and get his tanks into position. And here we are. Where are the Vipers? They don't have a lot of energy, but maybe they do have enough. And the Broodlords coming in from the side. The Vikings, there's maybe not enough here. They're focusing on the Vipers to try and bring them down, while the Broodlords decimate what's on the ground. Thor's falling. There's no SCV support to repair them. This is going to be it, I think. Gumiho's army.
Look at the supply!
It is going down. Finally, the king, after 8 wins, is defeated. GG. $4,000 in the bank, an 8-win streak, the second longest streak in ShoutCraft history for the Gummy God. But Rogue is the man to finally defeat the undefeatable.
Yeah, that was a very, very good performance from the get-go. From the very get-go, when
Absolutely.
he didn't take any damage early on, none of that nonsense of Widow Mines and Marines, none of the shenanigans that we've seen from Gumiho earlier, and that just set him up to perform. Like, you just get in such a... I mean, you don't even get in a good position, I suppose. You just don't take damage, and then you're in an equal, if not slightly better position moving forward. And he really did capitalize. That was very good. That was very impressive from Rogue. Very solid.
Oh,
incredibly solid.
Yeah, it was really, really well played. I was worried that his Broodlord transition was a bit late, but obviously he had that timed out well. He understood what he was playing against, and he was able to counter it well. Continued roach run bys, keeping that economy low, making sure that Gumiho couldn't replace the mech army.
Yeah.
And by the time that final push came in, of course, there's no SCV support on the ground that you usually need to keep those Thors up, because he didn't have any SCVs left, you know? He needed them on the mineral line. Some really great stuff there. That was one hell of a game from Rogue. And finally, Gumiho just won $4,000 in an evening. So I don't think he's going to be too sad with that. That puts him in the top 3 earners of this tournament already. That was his best performance to date by a country mile. Several orders of magnitude. Huh.
Second longest winning streak, right?
Yep, second longest winning streak, equaling Nurchio's.
Yeah.
Very, very well played. We need a break after that. That was really good, but we're going to have to find some opponents for Rogue now. I've got plenty in the mix. We're just entering Group 3. We're halfway through the tournament. We have plenty more excellent games coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Give us a good few minutes to set up, and, well, I'm sure you'll have a lot more fun if the games continue to be of this caliber. Go take a break for a few minutes, and then rejoin us for yet more incredible StarCraft action. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. StarCraft 2 can be pretty rough sometimes. It's skillful and demanding. It stretches even professional players to their absolute limits. Bearing that in mind, the last thing you need is somebody yelling in your ear and reminding you of all your mistakes.
Your SCVs can't mine when they're dead.
That's why I created the TotalBiscuit Announcer Pack for StarCraft 2. Enjoy positive reinforcement.
Your supply blocked. Might as well GG now.
Sincere compliments.
What you lack in minerals, you make up for in charm.
And calm, relaxing notifications.
Your base is under attack. We're all gonna die!
Are you a Zerg player? Let me tell you how beautiful you are.
Metamorphosis is a beautiful thing. Oh god, it's monstrous!
All this and much, much more from the man who brought you the best play-by-play event in history.
Building a supply depot right here. This could be the tactical crucial move of this entire game. It's on about 20%, 25%, and here we go.
The TotalBiscuit Announcer Pack. Available to buy now in-game on the collection page.
Resume the real-time strategy-ing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ShoutCraft Kings, the September edition. We've had a wild series so far, and finally, the king is dead.
Yeah, Gumiho dethroned after 8 games. A very strong performance from him, very impressive performance from him, and obviously, as you mentioned, $4,000 worth of a performance, which is incredibly impressive. However, the king is dead, and there is a new one.
Indeed. Rogue ascends to the throne, and in a hell of a game, too. So, very impressive to see. I'd like to see a little bit more of him against Terran, actually. So I lined up a nice opponent that should test his mettle.
Okay.
So very strong indeed.
All right, well... I mean, it's only going to get better as the day goes on, I'm sure, as I know you've got quite a few surprises. So.
Oh, we have plenty. We have plenty indeed. This one, however, we did announce. He's only played in the tournament twice before. He's a very busy man, and honestly, considering how much money he's won, he doesn't really need to play in these events. But I think every now and again, players like this look for a challenge, look for the prestige, and hell, if you could win $500 in 5 minutes, why wouldn't you? It's Maru.
One of the best players, one of the best Terrans. Definitely not the very peak of Terran play in recent times, as that throne has been passed around quite a lot, but absolutely like one of the all-time legends of playing Terran.
I would say so. One of the fastest, certainly. Like a very, very scary guy, you know, very much a wunderkind, you know, incredibly young.
Yeah.
Able to do things that older players just simply couldn't do, just due to his speed. Hasn't suffered from Terran exploding wrist syndrome yet, although I'm sure it's on the cards for him. Mere age 20 is Maru, nicknamed the Hamster Terran. Got little puffy cheeks sometimes.
It's a part of the new generation of StarCraft 2 players. These kids, these 19, 20-year-olds.
Indeed. And those are the guys who will carry it forward. Also, StarCraft is a game that is a bit tricky to play past a certain age, just because of the speed requirements. But this guy, probably still one of the fastest on the planet. Because you can see from his APM right now, it spikes over 600. Both these guys are really quick, but this guy, what a player. To the southwest position in the blue trunks from Jin Air, it's Maru. Versus the man who killed a god. The new, reigning, defending King of the Hill in the red trunks, also from Jin Air, his teammate, friend, and rival. It's Rogue.
So one thing's for certain, if Rogue plays a similar game to how he just did, then I think Maru's got a chance, because that was highly impressive.
Question is, do we see mech from Maru? You know, this guy is known for his bio play, not for his mech play. Might be something that he busts out, especially if he's up against a teammate who might know him a little bit too well. That's always an interesting dynamic. These are guys that practice together all the time, so you don't necessarily see the builds that you would necessarily expect against other players.
Yeah, and Maru, over the time that I used to commentate him, it definitely could use mech, and no doubt definitely would if he had to, but was more of a biological player in terms of using Marine Marauders and then tanks, obviously. So it'll be cool to see what he does and how he's changed up since the last time I saw him play actively.
Yeah, it will be. He's certainly not been the top of his game lately. I think that's fairly reasonable to say, but still ranked number 10 overall in WCS career points. Not a slouch by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it's definitely still very high skilled, no doubt there whatsoever, this match. Rogue, though, like the performance he gave, and I've already said it already, but the performance in that last map, it was just from the very scouting of what he did to the defense to playing in the mid game with all these units, his creep spread, the lava injects, all of that combined, he looked unstoppable. He really did. I don't think he had a sweat at all in that previous match.
No, I don't think so. But I have to wonder if that was simply because he knew what Gumiho was going to do. He knew how to deal with mech, and he was able to counter it. You know, if we see mech from Maru, that could be quite a surprise. What it looks like we're going to see probably immediately Hellions here, so very classic 1-1-1 build after the expansion.
Yeah, I feel like mech on this map's a little more tricky to pull off just because of the way the expansions work. I'm not too familiar with this map, but the third base isn't close. It's kind of, you know, you're opening into the middle of the map if you start to crawl towards it as well. And of course, because Zerg's mobility can move around. So which area do you defend, the third or the second? So if he does play mech, you'll have to play it kind of slow. Yeah,
and I'd be surprised to see it out of him, but who knows? We'll certainly see a follow-up here. Probably a Banshee. Could be. Although he does have what he needs for... He's actually going straight into a Viking. Just right off the bat. A little bit of... This is very Pult-esque, actually. This is a very old-school build from Maru.
Clean up those overlords. Deny any scouting. Prevent them from seeing what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. There's no reason not to do it. It's a very, very safe build here from Maru. And we'll see what he can make happen. And probably quite a lot, knowing him. He's going, of course, threaten that third base. Can't really kill it, but he may be able to slip into the natural. However, we see Baneling Nest going down very early here for our Zerg player. Look at that early armory here for Maru. Wow.
Yeah, Hellbats, most likely, right?
Most likely.
I'm no expert, but I'd say so.
Wow, okay. I'm really interested to see where this goes. Cloak Banshee off the back of it. So this is looking like a very, very aggressive Maru build. And excellent denial of the creep spread here. Very, very active, very on point there. He has 6 Hellions on the map. And bear in mind, he's only showing 2. So, really, Rogue's in the dark. The Viking has done exactly what it was supposed to. Shoot down the Overlord to make sure no scouting is available. He has kept those 4 Hellions out of the line of sight. So, what does Rogue do here? Because right now he's droning, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he continues to drone, then he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, he's about to get hit by a 2-pronged attack. A Hellion drop, which will probably be a Hellbat drop, turned into an attack backed up by a Reaper as well on the third base. It's going to get messy. Here we go. Hellbats are making their move, and they're also moving on the third base as well. This is going to be a very, very hard thing to defend. I mean, he barely has anything to defend it with, and he's got the top of the ramp as well, which is going to make this even more difficult.
Well, I don't mean to be to darken the mood here, but this is looking kind of gloomy.
I would say so. At the moment, he hasn't done much damage with it, but there's cloaking available right now. The Hellbats get split up quite nicely. The Queens hold these Hellbats very, very well, and here's the cleanup. The follow-up, of course, will be the Cloaked Banshee, and there is not a great deal of defense against that, but now with the Overseer out, I have to say, as this starter finally gets cleaned up, what's your assessment of that attack? You know, did that really do enough? Oh my god, that was a big shot. If only you got just one more there, that would have really turned it around. But I mean, that seems to me like that didn't really do a lot.
Yeah, so I'd say that overall this isn't very good. It's not a very good position for Rogue, but the way that he handled it was very good, if that makes sense. I think like he's lost a lot of lack of mining time, lack of lava injects and creep spread, and he's definitely disorganized at the moment. But the way that he handled it while droning and not taking that much damage, that was the impressive part.
Yes, indeed. There's some nice stuff there. So Maru ends up being a little bit economically behind. He took his third, though, behind that. So this wasn't like a 2-base all-in or anything. He was able to hold back his opponent, and now he is actually going to mech. We're gonna see double Cyclone production come out. That's interesting. I mean, so far, really, he hasn't seen any information about what is really coming out from his opponent. I mean, he saw Lings, he saw Banelings, but that's it. Well, we're actually going to see, of course, are Hydralisks.
Yeah, and how long will they stay Hydralisks? Does he even use Lurkers? I don't know if they use in this matchup.
Sometimes, certainly sometimes. With Cyclones, this is going to be really interesting. Cyclone DPS against Hydras is very, very good. So it might do the job, and Maru is not done with these Cloak Banshees. This is a good map for it. You can swing between the third and the natural quite easily and do some damage, and he's able to get it. So this is making things a little bit more uncomfortable for Rogue. Maru keeping him honest here.
Yeah, I'd say Maru is playing a very active game, and he's looking very clean. And what I mean clean is just his base layout, his saturation's very nice, his timing of the third base while moving out and being aggressive. It just looks very tidy.
This push is going to get a lot done. I mean, there's a lot of Cyclones in this mix as well, and that's a great way of cleaning Queens out really fast. So this is going to work. It's a Cyclone Hellbat push, and it is devastating the third base. There's nowhere near enough defense there. That's it! GG! The follow-up was more than the king could handle, it would seem.
Yeah, it's so difficult to deal with those pushes if you don't have... I mean, he got the Baneling Nest, right? To get Banelings to support some type of, defense he had to make against an attack, but he took a lot of damage in terms of just moving his units around. He wasn't organized anymore. He got thrown off, but that was a not too close one and quite a drastic difference between the first and second game that he played today.
Yeah, it was. I think Maru's more aggressive style of mech was definitely something that caught his opponent off guard. Yeah. I was surprised he was able to do as much as he did because that early game attack didn't really get the job done, but I don't necessarily think that Rogue was expecting such a strong follow-up. In fact, I don't even know if Rogue knew what he was playing against because he was actively denied scouting so much. And a transition through to 4 Cyclones at a time, that's a lot of early game firepower. Even if he'd had a few more Hydras, I don't know if that would have been enough. Cyclones just rip through those units. So I think that was a really nice transition, and we've started to see that Cyclone transition work. We saw Innovation experiment with it quite a lot in the early days of Legacy of the Void. Not to great effect against Zerg, honestly, but Maru's version of it seems to work very well.
Yeah, that was good. That was very clean. I was very impressed with the way that Maru played in that game. Just from start to finish, very, very nice.
It was clean, and the Banshee Harass made up for the sort of underwhelming Hellbat drop, I think. So he was able to get Rogue on the back foot, and I think he caught Rogue kind of mid-transition. You know, you were wondering, hey, is there going to be lurkers? Well, I mean, he'd only just started really building Hydras, and he only had 5 on the board by the time the next attack hit. So really, Rogue didn't have anything. You know, whatever he was deciding to do, he clearly wasn't... he hadn't completed his plan. So he didn't have enough to defend against that. It was a big, giant mess, frankly. And Maru thrived in that particular form of chaos.
Absolutely. And it was a very chaotic game for Rogue. Very difficult to kind of climb back up from that. Especially because, you know, StarCraft players really like to get into rhythm and get things moving, get their, you know, economy up, get their upgrades going. He was never really doing any of that. It'd be interesting to see, though, who's going to play next, though, because Maru, that was a pretty solid performance from him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started to build some type of winning streak himself, but then again, I don't know who you've got still left.
I have some interesting stuff.
Sleeve.
Interesting stuff. I'll, in fact, unveil pretty much immediately. So here's a bit of a surprise. So we've had this guy in the tournament once before, and we pointed him out as an up-and-coming rising star in the Chinese scene. And he proved that by qualifying for the GSL and also for the GSL Super Tournament. The only Chinese player to do so. He is a very interesting, unusual Terran player, and his name is Time.
Yeah, thought so.
Yep.
So this guy is very new. Probably he is the newest player that's playing so far that I've seen today. I think he did play in China as well, in Shanghai, the same tournament that Rogue won.
Yep.
He didn't have the most success, but I've been hearing now that this guy is meant to be, you know, the best. I'm not sure if he is the #1 anymore or is in China, but I've heard that he's becoming the Chinese player now.
Yes. For a while, it was Ayasono who was the top Chinese player, and we've had him in our tournament. He actually played very successfully in an unusual style. That's the thing about the Chinese players. They don't play the same style as everybody else. And Time is actually living, I believe, in the Foreigner team house over there right now.
Oh, really?
So
Interesting.
He's getting that experience that most Chinese players don't get. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what he's able to make out of that. You know, he's a very young, rising star. He's rapidly climbing up the ranks. His recent performances have been great. He did, unfortunately, lose against Innovation in the Super Tournament, but he took a map off him, and taking a map off Innovation in a TBT is pretty damn impressive in and of itself. And he only needs to take one map off